Hey, Blake, did you get the memo?
Yeah, I sure did. I've got it right here, and it won't be a problem again. I read the memo.
I'm going to make sure you get another copy of that memo, the Paper Clinic memo.
Brought to you by your hosts, Blake Stewart and
Desiree Stewart.
Coming at you from the Space Coast Podcast Studios, located in the Paper Clinic.
The Paper Clinic memo. Welcome to the memo, ladies and gentlemen. It is Monday, October 22nd, 2018. And this is the Monday before Halloween week, because it's more than just one day.
It's all week. It's all month.
All week, all month.
Is Halloween a big holiday for you guys?
No.
Not particularly.
But we know a lot of people who take it to a whole nother level.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we went to a birthday party yesterday, and it's Blake's best friend for how many years?
Many, many moons.
But they take it to a whole different level. Like, the whole... It's like decorated more so than Christmas is in their household.
I had a neighbor that redid his garage during Halloween as a little haunted house. It was pretty neat.
And he'd let kids like cruise around in there and
Yeah. The neighborhood party, right? It was local.
Yeah, I remember those.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
It used to be a big deal when I was younger. Adulting, though, when married, with businesses, it's...
And once you have kids, if you have kids, it could become another big deal. You dress up
Right.
the parents, and you dress up in the house, and you serve the candy, and it's kind of neat.
Single Halloween is fun. Married with kids, Halloween is fun. Single, no kids is just an opportunity for couples to fight over other couples' skanky outfits.
So you guys are the house that turn your lights off?
No, we hand out candy and wear rated G costumes.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's
But
good.
we like handing out the candy and stuff. But it's funny, we were actually... Kenny, the party we went to this past weekend, so he got told what he was going to be for Halloween, and he was not happy about it. So he's a lumberjack. And the reason being is that he's got 4 little ones. So, and 3 are triplets, and then 1 is the new baby. And somebody had made all the babies homemade costumes. So the triplets are the 3 little pigs.
Aww.
So
That's cute.
Mom's going to be Little Red Riding Hood. And then the little baby is the big bad wolf. So Dad's like, I wanted to be the wolf.
Yeah.
And
Doesn't make any sense to me. Why wouldn't you make Dad the wolf?
So he's just stuck being their friendly lumberjack, and he's not too thrilled about it.
It's not a lumberjack, it's the huntsman.
Yeah. But so that's how it kind of changes when it's not a couple's outfit now. So
Yeah.
but so that's next week will be a super scary version of the memo. So make sure you put it on your calendar. Make sure you tune in on your way home from work. It should be a fun and spooky time.
It'll be a mostly inoffensive and slightly offbeat episode. I don't know about super scary.
Super scary. Super scary. You don't want to miss it. You'll be scared to miss it. How about that?
Why, are you pregnant? Is that when you're going to announce it?
No.
Okay.
Better not be. Gonna run a CVS. I'm kidding. Paper Clinic, we're always PC here. Speaking of that, we have our twerk on Tuesday coming up November 13th. That's the second Tuesday of every month. And Alan is a sponsor.
That's right. Thank you.
He is our water cooler sponsor, so make sure you come and hear him. And then we actually are so blessed today that we have both of the speakers. Blake, you want to talk about what you're talking about?
Talk about what you're talking about, boo.
Yeah. Tell us
About
what
how
you're
it's
say.
inappropriate to say booby to people in office environments.
And definitely don't record it if you do it.
Unless it's October.
The HR guy's right here.
Yeah.
That's how it all starts.
I think that's how the next skit should start. It should be you like lecturing me and Trevor about saying booby in the office, and then like Jesse in the background like playing booby into the mic.
That's funny.
That'd be an HR nightmare.
Ooh, excellent idea for the Halloween edition.
Yes.
I'm full of puns today. So tell us what you're talking about on Twerk on Tuesday.
What am I talking about on Twerk on Tuesday?
You're talking about contracts and how they relate to small businesses.
Oh, yeah, I can do that. I do that all the time.
I know. So what topics mainly?
Contracts and how they affect your small business.
Oh, good Lord.
This is
It's like
painful.
pulling teeth.
Come to Twerk on Tuesday and find out.
Well, that's not a good... We got to work on your advertising and marketing skills. Jesse, will you tell them how it's done?
I don't. They're not very strong because I pay people to do that.
I was gonna say, like, Desiree, that's your job. If he got good at it, what would you do for him?
Oh,
I'm trying to teach him
teasing.
so I can retire early.
She's already got baby mind. She's already like stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
Already in the phase. All right, that's so funny. Well, I'm continuing to share the love here on Facebook, sharing the stream here. So what I'm going to be talking about is podcasting for business. Essentially, what opportunities some businesses of all sizes can do to help them. Maybe they can just replace whatever they're doing with TV and radio and other conventional methods of advertising and just adopt a podcast platform, or just add podcasts into their already existing wheel of all these other places where they're advertising. So we're going to talk about the growth of it, the opportunities that are here currently, what we can do as a podcast studio to help them enter into this space, and then finally where the industry we're seeing going to. So what opportunities not only can they take advantage of today, but where we see them going in the future. And it's a very exciting future. Let me share that with you right now. So if you're listening, make sure you come by. There's no charge. I had somebody ask today when I mentioned it. Is there a charge? I'm like, never for Twerking Tuesday.
Yeah.
I mean, we
Each work for free.
yes, you can twerk all you want on your own dollar. so we are.
I'm never going to run out of a job here, am I?
no.
Job security at the paper clinic. You're on a lifetime retainer, buddy.
So do you want to
Keep
go
going,
right in?
guys. This is great.
Do you want to go right into Alan's minute? Because
Yes, we need to.
before
yes.
the show, we were kind of usually what we do is we have you talk about whatever it was we talked about on our previous show.
Right.
But with Halloween coming up and Halloween parties, and me having just seen that Christmas party movie, holiday party movie with Jason Bateman, and
Yeah.
did you see that one?
No, I didn't see it, but I know what you're talking
You
about.
should. It's excellent empirical research for you. But I remember going to a couple of holiday parties that got a little out of control when coworkers were around, and it was, kind of it was kind of unofficial, but it was, maybe, what do you call that when you have the not officially endorsed corporate party, but then everyone from work is there? Is there a thing? Is there a name for that?
Ooh, that's a
You mean like a happy hour or something, but
Oh,
more of a formal party?
Yeah.
blurry line.
It is a blurry line. I shouldn't say many, but your handbook should have a clause in there that says you have to represent the company at all times in a positive way, or if you represent the company in a negative way or a way that's not positive, you could be that's just as bad as doing it on the job. Not all handbooks will address that, but there's
It's a high standard.
it's a high standard, but there's a reputation that a company needs to uphold, and it's really about maintaining the company reputation along the same lines as if you drink and you get a DUI and you've got the company badge on, and then the company name gets in the newspaper. They're going to lead with, there was, Jimmy, the paper clinic employee, pulled over for DUI, and you don't want that, right? So you got to avoid that. What?
That's
I
probably
need
the
to
most
set you
likely
off.
scenario.
Blake wants to share a very exciting story.
8 days after I started at a very high-profile company, I was arrested very publicly and put in the paper, and it essentially amounted to unpaid parking tickets. It amounted to one unpaid parking ticket, and perhaps a little bit of speeding. But then once the paper got a hold of it, it was like, it's pretty crazy. But I managed to keep the name of the employer out of
That's good.
the news. And it's funny because when they were dressing me down about my personal life, they mentioned that that was my only saving grace. Had the company name, become known, then they would have axed me right then and there.
Yeah, there's a detriment to the company, to the brand, to what they're building, and here's a new guy that gets them in trouble, or at least gets the publicity they don't want.
Mm-hmm.
People say that all publicity is good publicity, including bad publicity. That's not true. Bad publicity can be a negative impact on especially a local small company.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I never thought about that. Put it in the handbook.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, many of the handbooks, the ones that I write now, have some clause. It's a minor one. There's not much you can do to prevent someone from living their life outside of work. I mean, the handbooks also talk about you're allowed to have a second job as long as it doesn't get in the way of your current job. It's along those lines.
Yeah.
Right. You don't want your employees creating a bad scene for you for something that they're doing outside of the company when it's seemingly not company work. But the other risk the company has is if it's to your point about an unofficial party, that maybe there are company leaders there that are drinking and are having bad behavior.
It's usually middle management.
Right?
I find at those bigger companies.
But it flows downhill.
It
so
does.
It's not just a bunch of employees that get together at a bar for a happy hour and cause a fight and then they create a bad name for the company. It's the company themselves that create something off-site or even on-site. I mean, some companies allow drinking on the premises. They have insurance to cover that, and that's perfectly okay. But if something gets out of hand, you're still going to be liable at some level, even if it's in the court of public opinion. And you want to try to avoid that. I remember my first holiday party. This is going way back, of course. But my first holiday party, the big leader, and we're all drinking, and the big leader is drinking soda. And I asked him, I didn't know this at the time. I said, "What are you drinking?" So I was going to drink with him and try to brown nose. And he said, "I'm having a Coke." I said, "Oh, no drinking?" He says, "No, I don't drink at the parties." And I didn't actually put it together at the time because I had been drinking. But afterward, right, you become a little bit of a manager and you start thinking about what that means. And I actually do that now. When I go to company parties or in any kind of public setting, I may have a beer, but I definitely do not go over the top at all. I just don't want to be that person.
I'm still working on that.
Right. and
Blake counts on being that person.
Well, absolutely. And I don't mean to be, I'm not trying to set an example or create any kind of
There's nothing wrong with setting an
no.
example.
Well, and that's okay, but my intent was really just to share that story because we all do it differently. There are plenty of people, every time I come here, we talk about culture. But it's not just culture, right? I don't want to overuse the word culture. It's risk. It's interest in what your strategy is for the organization. It's what you're trying to create as a public appearance or as an internal appearance, whether it's dress code like we talked about last week, or liquor on the premises, or I don't drug test because I don't want to know, right? The don't ask, don't tell.
Don't ask, don't
Right?
tell.
I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can approach it, but I have seen some pretty bad behavior at some of these parties that have, in fact, resulted in terminations.
Really?
Can I share one of my bad manager experiences where I was
hear
the
it.
bad manager?
Ah.
So,
Oh, you were the bad man.
I was the bad manager.
Was
so
it yesterday?
Just like turning into a confession time.
Yes, it is.
I think I was like 21, 22, and it was my first time in a manager spot. And one of my employees was like, "Hey, there's this 5K, let's go." So we bought tickets to run this 5K, and then it was unlimited beer afterwards. And so
Danger.
we, here we are. It's like noon, and we're doing keg stands in the middle of the park. And it was a crazy party afterwards, and like we both walked away, and we got to know each other, and maybe we saw each other do some things that the big man wouldn't want to know or see. And then it was like less than a week later, the big manager came down and said, "All right, fire her," and not because of what we did, but it was another occurrence. But like I had already bonded with her. It made it even more complicated for
That's
me
right.
to be in that manager role and be like, okay, you gotta go. But that's a good way that managers can limit the fraternization, is to not get into those situations, which
True.
that's important.
Well, you brought up, that's a great point. It's not just about the bad behavior at the party, it's the after effect. So I said that I know at least one time that I can think of right now where somebody was terminated for bad behavior. But now you're talking about not for that reason, but you become friends with someone, and a lot of times we bond over alcohol or fun times outside the office. And even if you took the party out of it, there's still an opportunity you still had to do your job. And that makes it really hard when you're friends with someone or know someone.
Yeah. Luckily, somehow in my 22-year-old wisdom, I was able to navigate it, and we're still friends.
Right.
But it was a nightmare for me. I was so torn. So, and I was like, I don't want to fire her. Well, it's you or her. Pick one.
Whoa.
Okay.
Quite the ultimatum.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I think what companies probably want to think about is if you're going to sponsor an event, make sure you're insured. And make sure you set ground rules with your employees.
Yeah.
I mean, there's really no way to get around somebody sneaking alcohol into a party. And you can set all the rules
That's
you
true.
want, right? Stuff happens. But I think if a company is going to sponsor a party, they should actually sponsor it. I mean, sponsor it. Putting your head in the sand is just going to make it worse. Because the managers know. People know what's happening.
Right.
And you can't avoid it. So you might as well just be a part of it. But in a positive, supportive, structured way.
On the legal standpoint, you could always do what Blake does and just put a disclaimer right on the bar. Be like, if you are consuming this, you will not do anything illegal afterwards. So
Did I do that? Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
the
right.
memo.
I think at the party, remember I had the disclaimer on your way in, like, by passing through this door, you agree not to hold us liable for, we are not monitoring your drinking.
So there's our dirty laundry for our HR minute. Thank you for that, Alan.
All right.
I could
That's
do another segment of that.
If Alan has time, I don't
I'm
want to
here.
keep
I'm
him
good.
from his.
Yeah?
All right.
Yeah.
Alan will stick
Thank
around
you.
after the
Love
break. See you guys in a bit.
Hey, make sure you check out Space Cowboy Justice with your hosts, Blake Stewart and Paul Daly. We're going to be talking about interesting legal issues in the entertainment industry and everything geek. If you're into Star Wars, Star Trek, Lord of the Rings, comic books, we're talking about it. Coming at you from the Space Coast Podcast Studios.
Simple, yet important place where your dreams begin and your love flourishes. Home is not just a place. It is a feeling you get knowing you're welcome. The difference between a house and a home is who you can rely on to keep you safe, giving you a lifetime roofing solution so you never have to worry down the road. You can have the permanent difference, the Hippo Roof Difference.
Jesse, have you ever wondered what is the best way to interview applicants for your open position so you have the best chance of hiring a keeper?
All the time.
Well, I talk to managers every day, Jesse, that use their gut instinct to make a hire. Sometimes that works out, but more times than not, it can lead to a bad hire. Replacing a poor hire can be expensive and hurt morale. One of our most popular service offerings at HR Office Savers is teaching employers how to be better interviewers. Improved interviewing techniques lead to better hiring, which leads to better employee retention, which leads to less turnover and more profit. Contact me today to find out how you can learn to be a better interviewer. I can be reached online at www.hrofficesavers.com or by phone 928-308-4506. Again, that's 928-308-4506. 928-308-4506.
And we're back at the Memo. Blake will be returning here shortly, but here you have Desiree and Alan. And we were talking about holiday parties and how employers can set themselves up for success. And actually, I'm sorry, girl, if I mess up your name. Annalise. She says, we always discuss don't be that guy or gal before events and then share the horror stories of previous incidences. So, which is kind of like, it's culture shaming. I feel like you don't
Well, it's
like
accountability.
Yeah. Well, and the best way to prevent things
Shame.
from is, like, oh, they did that. You don't want to be that. So,
So
that's
what I
very
take
good.
from that, and Annalise,
Yes.
I'd love to hear more from
Yes.
Annalise and see if that's how the company she's worked in, if that's the culture, if that's just she and her friends and how that works. But that's a really important part of what we keep talking about with strategy, culture, business development, what you're trying to create internally. If your owner, boss, what have you, is just a partier, regardless of whether that person's at the party or not, it's okay. It's okay, right? You think it's okay. If your boss is more of a straight-laced or likes to have fun, but you know that they wouldn't approve or at least in some level condones it, then you're more apt or likely to not be that person.
Mm-hmm.
And then what also happens at these parties, if there's a lot of alcohol or even drugs are allowed, I mean allowed by even by not anything.
Where
Let's
are
talk-
they working? Are
Right.
they hiring? I'm kidding.
Well, we can talk about alcohol just to begin with, but if that's encouraged at this party, if there's free flowing alcohol, if it's at a bar with free flowing liquor, or you're at somebody's house with a ton of kegs, then it's implied that drinking's okay. And then what about the person that drives home and gets the DUI, even if they protect the company? What does the company do for them, right? So this person's been at a party. Is there a company liability? That's more of a legal discussion than an employment discussion.
Dram shop. That's what it's called. It's called dram shop liability. So it used to be a lot more popular to litigate, but if you went to the bar and then you went home and got the DUI, you sued the bar.
Mm-hmm.
It's become very difficult to do that, but it's the same liability for a company party. So if they have a company party on company property and then they're serving a bunch of booze and then, Joe somebody gets in his car in his 88 Cutlass Cialis and, the cops catch him sleeping on the railroad tracks with
That's
the
a
door
specific
open.
vehicle, isn't
That
it?
just became very
That
personal.
was a specific event. That
Everybody's
actually
going to get their
happened.
Google going right now.
But they caught him sleeping on the railroad tracks with the car in park and the door open. And he sued the company, and they were like, I think the company came out on top of that one, if I recall correctly. It was a West Palm. It was a West Palm, like, medium-sized business, like 35
So
to
we
50.
know what county records to search. Thank you.
Landscaping. It was a
Good.
landscaping
Interesting.
company.
Yeah.
And they were able to win because it's like, okay, there is a certain amount of liability on the part of the people having the party, but there's usually more liability on the person because everybody's different.
Mm-hmm.
Like this beer will knock her out, whereas I could drink like the whole case and just be fat the next morning. I'm being facetious, of course. It would probably take like 4 or 5 of these to really get to her, but
I saw Desiree on Saturday. She was doing pretty good.
No, I kept up. I'm the one who wanted we went to a beer fest on Saturday, so it's unlimited craft beers that we got, and Blake actually quit before me, so.
And then we immediately followed up with an all-you-can-eat festival.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
That was a
True
great day.
story.
You get sued for gluttony.
Yeah.
Right? I'm going to hit the gym hard this week.
I needed a day off to throw up, and I want a PTO day. When does that happen, right? Isn't that awesome? Right. I think employers really need to just understand their risk. And if they're going to have a party, do their best to minimize alcohol consumption, which is really hard to do, right? Let's admit that. You're at a party, and that's just a challenge. So that's almost unrealistic, candidly. But to understand that there are opportunities for people to act badly. I think employers, if they've hired someone, they probably want to think about trusting that person. When you do the hiring, think about integrity and acumen, business and personal. I mean, that's why you do background checks and drug screens and other ways before you hire people sometimes.
How do you tell from an interview if a person's a partier or not?
Well, of course, I don't know that you can, but you can tell someone's. Jesse has a thought.
Tattoos and piercings. No, I'm kidding.
No, that was from our last.
It's probably the
meeting.
stamp on their hand
Right.
from when they went to the club over the
Right, the
weekend.
bloodshot eyes, how much Visine. When was the last time you bought Visine? No, you can't, but you can certainly check on someone's acumen, on someone's intellectual capabilities, more like their personal acumen. What do you do for hobbies, right? You can start asking questions. You certainly can't get into how many beers you drink, right? That's not an appropriate question. But
Were they long necks? Were they cans?
Unless they're bragging about an award.
But you know what? You're taking a risk. When you hire someone, you're taking a risk. When you let them work from home for an afternoon, you're taking a risk. When you throw a party, or when they do a happy hour and the boss says, "Hey, I'll be there," or not be there, these are all risks, and some of these are pretty low risks. But I think if you're having a holiday party, it's important to understand that if you're going to be an employer that sponsors a holiday party, there's a risk, and there's a possibility that there's going to be somebody that takes it over the top and creates a situation that's not in your best interest.
So, and I know you say as employers to protect ourselves with a good handbook.
Yes.
But so I'm the employee. Yeah, I signed that I received the handbook, but I really didn't read it. And I know that maybe my boss is trying to encourage this culture. How could the boss maybe revisit or remind employees, or maybe they've been there for 20 years, they're not reading that handbook every year that it's updated?
They're not. Probably not. They probably should, but they're not, or sign it. What is as effective as you can be is maybe a verbal reminder or an email reminder or a company memo. Right?
I love memos.
Memo. Something that and I've seen this multiple times in different companies where it's a very simple, as we proceed into the holiday time, let's remember that this is a time for love and caring and safety and precautions, and some people tend to use this time to drink too much or something, and we want all of our employees to be safe and to be cautious on the roads. So you don't want to call anybody out as a drinker, and you even don't even want to imply that your people will do it. It's everyone else, right? When you teach your kids to drive, I'm worried about everyone else, not you.
Yeah.
Which, of course,
I trust you. It's everyone else.
That's right. So
that's
what I would suggest as a tactic, is a caring note that says, watch out.
Gotcha.
How about
telling us more details about the holiday party you saw negative ramifications from?
That's where my question was going. Dress code happens in the office.
Yep.
What about holiday party dress codes?
Bum, bum, bum.
Because there's a lot of
every party's got the naughty nurse. And
oh my goodness. The French maid. How do you tell people, like, please guys, tone it down?
So there is usually less control over a party when people come to a party, whether it's the drinking or the dress. You again trust that your people.
But even if you're hosting it, like at that, like, hey guys, it's Halloween on Wednesday. It's not on a weekend. So as a good boss with my fun culture, I want to keep you guys happy and excited. I want you all to dress up on Wednesday, and we're going to have like a half day. And then, so we're going to party at the office first, and then maybe, someone's hosting a house party, or a restaurant invited us over for, a happy hour discounted drinks or whatever, and they're going to sponsor us because, that's our South office or whatever, that's our normal hangout. And so how do you convey that so that things don't get too out of control, but they're also respectful?
Sure.
Because especially if it's a shared office space, you want to be respectful of everybody in the building, and not.
So when you convey what you're conveying,
right.
We're having a party, we're going to dress in our Halloween outfits or costumes, whatever you're conveying.
Right.
At the same conveyance, you want to share that this is not an opportunity to get crazy. And the way you would word that is, we're having a holiday party at the paper clinic on Wednesday from 12 o'clock on. You're welcome, or all day, say. You're welcome to dress in your costumes. I do want to remind everyone that we do have a dress code policy. For ladies. That includes no skirts above whatever. I know you don't have that in your policy,
right.
But it could be a simple a reminder that we still are a professional office and a certain level of decorum is still required, and we're expecting our employees to act in good taste and dress appropriately for the costume party.
Well, I think that's gentle, good taste.
Yeah,
because that puts it back on them.
That's right.
That actually is what I think our handbook says. We don't. I think we say there's a dress code and it's be reasonable.
That's right.
But I also noticed you must have read it.
I did.
Yeah.
Of course I did. My first day. And I hope Desiree will tell you I thought it was a good handbook. I thought it was good for what you guys are building here. Mm-hmm. If you were a bigger company or maybe you had more direct employees, you probably want to do something different, but you don't, right? You have a group of folks that are from different companies and backgrounds, so it's what you need here.
Really, the only people that can be told what to do is me by her. So,
well, Stewart Law does have a beefier handbook right. that says everything that the paper clinic said in this.
Yeah, my handbook narrows. So we start at the paper clinic, and then the Stewart Law handbook narrows. So we do say, maintain a certain level of decorum.
You want to remind people that there's still a business to run, that there's still an opportunity to be professional, whatever it is you're trying to build. Going back to that original discussion about culture and risk and strategy and really what you want to be when you grow up, because that's where it all starts. Mm-hmm. You always want to begin with the end in mind. Mm-hmm. So when you send out that note that says we're going to have the holiday party, include those words. Otherwise, people will react the way they want to react. And then to your point about the disclaimer, Blake, that you did for, when don't do anything stupid on your way out kind of thing. Well, if there's no disclaimer, then the implication is I can wear anything I want, or I can drink as much as I want, or act how I want. Doesn't mean your disclaimer would prevent someone from doing something stupid, but it's a reminder, and then you have something to fall back on.
See, here's an interesting one, too, and I was in management and I went to holiday parties. They would have them at a hotel and then encourage everybody to get rooms.
That's right.
So, and then it would be an open bar. So, of course they were encouraging
office hookups.
I don't know. It was really awkward. But I mean, I imagine a lot of other bigger companies have that same kind of thing.
Sure.
Let's go to the hotel and you could get a room. Maybe you bunk up there.
If the company's doing well, do they call that a boondoggle at Harris?
No,
they
I
don't
know what they call it. Yeah.
Oh, we had something called a boondoggle, and they would do it somewhere far away where there's no offices, like up in where did they used to do it? It was like north of Daytona was where they'd have it. I remember it was a hike, but they got everybody a hotel room, and then it was just they closed the bar down. Only corporate employees could use the hotel bar and.
See, that's one way to do it. So they protect themselves in such a way as protecting as they can. There could be other issues. But some companies will call taxis, or they'll pay for taxis or Ubers or whatever it might be. Mm-hmm. Sure.
Yeah.
Perhaps they just wanted to justify the HR department's raise of all the stuff that would result from that party.
I always felt like they were trying to set people up. All right, we got to downsize soon. Let's see if we can just maybe this will work itself out.
That's a good idea. All right. Thanks, Cody, for the shout out on Facebook. Catch us on Facebook Live, or thank you for
Cody?
Listening to us on Buzzsprout or any of the other mediums, Spotify. But we will be back after the break with the memo. Thank you.
You're listening to the Space Coast Podcast Network. If you'd like to be featured as a guest or sponsor or even host your own show, please email us at spacecoastpodcast@hotmail.com. That is spacecoastpodcast@hotmail.com. Space Coast Podcast. Talk hard.
Well, there's the X. I guess I'll sign right here.
Stop! Did you even read it?
No, I usually don't.
How many pages is that?
Like 20?
You could be giving away your firstborn son in that contract.
That's a pretty good point. I don't want to do that.
Or that's a lease, right? You could be giving your landlord rights to have their Fat Uncle Joe come and use your coffee maker whenever they want.
Uncle Joe's fine, but not Fat Uncle Joe.
Yeah, not that one.
Well, this is a lot of legal information. I don't really know it. Who could I go for this?
Well, that's exactly why we have Blake Stewart at Stewart Law. He specializes in business, contracts, and construction law, and he has negotiated low prices for contract reviews, just for cases like this. Check him out on Facebook, Stewart Law CS.
Or on the web at stewartlawcs.com.
Or give me a call at 321-541-6845.
What's that? What's in the cup?
It's watermelon juice. Gotta stay hydrated.
Only watermelon juice?
It is only watermelon juice, I swear.
It tastes like a Jolly Rancher.
I know, it tastes amazing. And watermelon Jolly Rancher is my favorite. All right, so on this next segment, so we were really lucky to have Alan talk about the HR Minute with us.
We are lucky to have him, aren't we?
Yeah.
It's pretty neat to have a business like incubator, accelerator, and then have like an HR guy.
Expert advice for all of your business woes. And to kind of like follow up on the holiday season, one thing that I see in myself, and then when I talk to other people, will you quit that? Stop it.
Sound effects.
Oh my God, I could beat
Sound
you.
effects.
Is that people get anxious this time of the year because there are so many things going on. Like just, what is this?
Yeah, it's October, and then it's Thanksgiving, and frequently I find that Thanksgiving gets skipped because I think as soon as November 1 hits, we're going to start seeing like Santa stuff in Macy's.
Oh, it's already out there. It's already in the
is.
stores.
Is it?
It is.
You know why Thanksgiving is now marginalized so much? It's because Black Friday is the very next day, and people are skipping Thanksgiving now to go sit in a damn line. I can't believe it. Black Friday has just corrupted Thanksgiving and everything about it.
Well, and it used to be for me that holiday season didn't start until Thanksgiving. But now I see Halloween and these harvest festivals. Like growing up, harvest festival was not a thing. Maybe your elementary school did it in conjunction with the book fair.
Right.
Now they're everywhere. So like I feel like October 1st all the way up till January 1. It's like just this crazy holiday season. Everybody's having these events. It probably doesn't help that now we're Rotarians and that's like Rotary peak season for events, which
Right.
I
Good
call
Lord.
it party for a cause.
yeah. But so I had saved some of these articles on my Facebook months back, and it's kind of how to get yourself set up. A lot of people too in their fourth quarter, they're business owners, and some of them might be kind of scared on the decreased business or what's going to happen with everybody concerned about the holiday season, and some essential tips to help new freelancers. And this is by BuzzFeed.
Is this what you're ambushing me with?
Well, it's not really. The second one is the ambush. You can't say
Oh,
that.
the second one's the ambush. By
That's
the
a
way,
secret.
ladies and gentlemen, normally we have Alan do the minute. We have a full-time guest, and then of course you know us. But today we decided to do things a little bit differently. We wanted Alan a little bit longer to talk about the holiday parties, and Desiree decided that today was going to be the ambush episode.
Intervention.
Intervention. Wait a minute. Oh, is that?
Someone get the banner.
I knew it.
Well, okay. So on the 12 essential tips, and this kind of works out. I think I had saved this specifically for the paper clinic because a lot of people are bootlegging with their small businesses and
Bootlegging? You mean bootstrapping?
bootlegging.
But if you are bootlegging with your small business, please let me know. I'm happy to represent you. Also, I may be a customer as well.
That's right.
I also have a very fast car if you have a position open for drivers.
But I know a lot of people.
Billy Lee, we're talking to you.
I know a lot of people who suffer getting started with their business. And the first thing on their list was separate your workspace from your living space.
Oh, hold on.
Oh, super important.
Let's show the audience.
So, like, how was it your first year of a law practice working from home?
I really only worked from home for I think we decided pretty early on it was pretty important that we had to have an office outside of the house. I mean, it seems like
We did 7 months.
Was it 7 months?
7 months. We
No.
started Jan 1, and then we moved in 4th of July.
Really?
Oh, so you did 6 months.
Yeah, and then we were out of there. Oh, I guess we subleased the place for a little while. But yeah, I mean, I was meeting people. My first client I met at Osario's in Cocoa Village, which is an excellent coffee and pastry shop, if you're not familiar. And they're not sponsors. I just like the place. So,
Free
but
plug.
if you'd like to, give us a voucher for coffee in exchange for that plug.
Ice cream.
Ice cream. And then, after Osario's, it was like anywhere that was reasonable. It was Dunkin' Donuts, and it was, like we mentioned, it was Beachside Satellite. We got to figure out what the name of that place is.
Well,
Beachside Bagel World.
And what I saw a lot when we were working from home is that we lost so much productivity, and there was no escape. So we'd come home from a day of networking, and then we'd be on our couch where all of our papers for work and our files were spread out, and our laptop was staring at our face saying, "You shouldn't be relaxing. You should be working on me."
Mm-hmm.
And we never got away from it.
It's true.
And so we separated. And even then, when we had our own office, we still had the guilty pleasure of staying at home and working from home.
Yeah, we were too close to the office.
Yeah.
We were too close to the office. That's a little bit of a trick, too. It's good to be close to the office, but not too close.
But I think a good thing, and I think it takes a special type of personality to pull it off.
It does.
BuzzFeed says work in a separate room that has a door you can close, or at least an area that you can designate for work, and respect the distinction. So don't merge the two.
We still do that. I mean, we have a home office that barely gets used, but when we do use it,
stores dog toys right now.
It does.
That we like try to
dog toys, Star Trek collectibles.
Yeah. So point number 2, though, is dress for the job that you want. And you see somebody in a Snuggie. So.
Oh, wait a minute. No, dress for the job you want. Gosh, you know what? Somebody sent me a meme. Oh, Anthony Furlano. Hold on. I got to pull that up. So literally the last meme I got. How about that? Can you see that?
Oh, let me put it on the.
Sorry, just temporarily.
All right, go for it.
Dress for the job you want.
A little higher, a little higher.
Oh.
He's an astronaut.
It's a race car driver.
He's a race car. That's so funny.
But you know what's interesting is that one year Anthony did dress up as the Stig for Halloween, and everybody thought he was trying to be a spaceman. So I guess that tells me that people think that astronauts wear racing suits.
So what do you want to be when you grow up?
I'm slowly trying to move towards sci-fi utilitarian, which is why everything is clean. I wear high tops and fancy fabrics with utility pants, and
that is true. Your fashion is always
I look like I could
encouraged by the 100.
Yeah, I look like I could be. Yeah, exactly. I got
I hate that show.
kids in moto jeans.
I love
They're
it.
so stupid. I just watch it. I'm like, wow, how could people be that stupid? Like, I hope that I'm part of the 100 and I will just rule them all with their stupidity.
You would have killed them all. And
I would have. I would have killed
right,
them or made them my slaves.
how do I repopulate by myself?
I would have to. Yeah, whatever. Anyways, point 3 is don't start working without a contract.
Ooh, really?
Yeah. And
now, when they say don't start working without a contract, do they mean like have contracts for your business or an employment contract? Because in Florida, an employment contract is basically bathroom paper.
Well, they're talking about for entrepreneurs. So,
okay.
So for things that you're serviced for.
Yeah.
So always have a written contract from smaller to larger jobs. It's totally necessary.
I agree.
And even for our firm, like I think people hire us for trivial things, very small things. And it's under one contract. They already paid. And then one small tax becomes this huge monster lawsuit. And they're like, well, I paid you to take care of this.
Yeah, it's like, well, you paid me to review this document, and then you dropped off a 60-page complaint that was served on you at lunchtime.
Yeah.
So probably not going to be covered by the same retainer agreement.
Yeah. And Annalise also said, also dress to look like you are supposed to work here. Full suit in casual workplace makes them think you're trying hard or didn't research the business.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You don't want to come up in a tuxedo.
So
like stepbrother?
No, listen.
That was awesome.
I'm sure that Mike would not mind me sharing the story, but one of our members here in the paper clinic is Aflac, Team Withrow. And Mike Withrow is a very good friend of mine, and he's gone. I'm very excited for him. He's gone on to greener pastures at corporate. But when he was in here, we had a good time. And I remember he was doing interviews. He was interviewing folks getting ready for his big push because he's got, he's almost like an accountant. They, 9 months out of the year, they're basically just getting ready for 3 months out of the year. And then that 3 months out of the year, poor Michelle, she just comes in every day and just, she just hammers out work. But I can just tell, like, oh man, she just can't wait until November. But so Mike interviewed this kid that showed up to the job interview in a tuxedo.
Epic.
And I said, Mike, you should hire that kid.
Wasn't that your past employee?
My past employee? No. He did. He showed up. I felt like he was well dressed. I was a little annoyed when he was like a little nicer dressed than me, but that's not really that hard to do. I mean, let's be honest.
But so back to the contract.
The contract,
So,
yeah.
How
For
you
sure,
protect yourselves.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, that's how you protect your services and your work product. You have to have a good contract.
Blake can help you write one November 13th.
Yeah, come see Twerk on Tuesday. I'll do a workshop on it.
So, number 4, backup plans are your best friend. Now, and I think they go on to talk about money, whether it's saving money for a potential dry season of work or setting up another job before your current one is over. Being one step ahead of the game, as well as a multitasking pro, will keep your pockets from drying up.
What's your backup plan? Yeah, I don't have one either.
Well, no. See, I do this for you, which is why it doesn't because I manage the finances, so I know when money's coming in or where it's like bottlenecked, and then I know like, okay, like so and so hasn't refilled their retainer, like it's about that time, or else we're closing up shop.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but like, so my dad is going through this right now with his detailing shop. When he has a lot of business, he's rolling in the dough, but he doesn't have a lot of time for marketing. So then he finishes the jobs. And then he's like, oh, snap.
Yeah, it's
I
cyclical.
have no jobs.
It's cyclical in the beginning. I remember that.
But so I think there are ways to do that, and technology is a beautiful thing now when it comes to scheduling posts, or there's like contractors who do some of the marketing for you, or if your stuff is really that good, devise a waiting list. That way you're not like stopped up just like on one particular week out of the month.
That's a good point.
Or give incentives, like if you're an accountant and you're tired of end of quarter having to get those, scramble to get those deadlines. Like maybe like, hey, you'll get 25% off if you give me everything a month prior to,
Yeah.
Or you do it incrementally. So, but backup plans, and I think really it's just working your workflow.
Working your workflow. Did you just coin that phrase? Is that on there?
Maybe. Working
your workflow. Can you change it from that woman winking at me? Every time I look up, she's creeping me out.
Well, let's get through number 5.
All right. Number 5.
Adding a purposeful mistake can help you with picky clients. And that's what the winking comes with. And it says, whenever a nitpicky client has a request, I always add a very noticeable mistake somewhere in the piece, like a big red spot, and keep the quality intact everywhere else. That way the client will feel accomplished when they point out the obvious error and won't be as prone to nitpicking. Now, I feel like this is very specific to certain industries.
Yeah, that was very specific to whoever wrote that article, because I'm not going to lie, I appreciated everything else in this article, but I don't think I think that one,
yeah.
Whoosh.
Yeah, because I think, especially with, like, a law firm, if you mess up a law firm.
Yeah, could you imagine if I, like, sent over, like, a finely detailed contract and then, like, spelled the owner's name wrong or something like that, you know?
Yeah. Like, maybe, like, you do Margaret and you put, like, 3 A's instead of the E at the end.
I show up to negotiate. I show up to negotiate a contract wearing, like, their competitor's shirt.
Yeah. Now, so this one, I think it's hard for a lot of people, this next step. And it's promotion is everything. So, and you see this, like, funny gif of someone saying, like, hire me, and being kind of awkward and giddy about it. But, like, the simple, now I'm bad about this, and all of our networking groups are like, oh, you should wear a name badge everywhere. It's free marketing.
People know who we are.
What don't I wear?
We used to. Yeah, we don't wear name badges anymore, but that's because we're cocky. And we promote well thanks to Space Coast Podcast Studios here at the Paper Clinic.
But I feel like Jesse's good at this. Like, he's got his stickers everywhere.
So I worked that Rotary event Saturday morning with the Boy Scouts. Successful event, very successful. and we raised a lot of money for scouting and underprivileged scouts and things like that. But by the time like 10:30 rolled around, he was getting to the point where like at least half of every foursome that was rolling through the 16th hole at IRCC knew me. I wasn't wearing a name tag, so promotion works. We did promote well, we really did. And then I feel like we leveraged our marketing. Not to blow smoke up his behind. But Jesse does do a good job of getting us out there. I think podcasting has made us pretty high profile. We're getting like hundreds of views on each of our podcasts. People are sharing it.
Your mom.
Did you say your mom?
No.
Oh, my
No,
mom's
Desiree.
saying, why can't we see that?
Well, as a producer,
Hi, Mom.
here's a short answer. Every time I go back to the website scene,
You have to scroll back
I
down.
have to scroll all the way back down.
Didn't we get all the way through that though?
No, we're at there's your winking lady.
Okay, hire me.
So now we're at 7.
Okay.
We just need to walk. We need to talk faster.
Talk faster.
So 7, work with
Yes.
a tax accountant who can help you in the long run.
Absolutely.
Hey, Rose and Sean.
Hey, Rosa.
Does it say anything about working in a well-lit environment? Keep going.
Okay. I mean, I think that's...
Are we on 8?
Yeah, get an accountant.
Get an accountant. Is that the last one?
Taxes. No.
Oh.
Don't sell yourself short.
That's a biggie.
Ooh, it's time to get paid. That's not hard. At first, you may think offering your services at a discount price will help you pick up more work, but it can be hard to get out of that price if most of your business is word of mouth. If you take the time to explain your price and why you're the right person for the job, they will more often than not choose you instead of doing more work to find someone else. You know, and actually on Facebook, I follow a lot of other business groups and networking groups, and somebody actually posed that question. So if you found out that your competitor was charging their clients less, but their quality was lower as well, would you lower your price?
I used to. Before I was I'm not saying I'm like completely established, but considering where I was in 2015 and where I am now, I don't lower my price. I actually raised my rates recently, and I'm worth every penny.
So what did it take to finally convince yourself of that? Because we see a lot of new businesses make that mistake.
You mean undervaluing their services or products?
Yeah.
That, there's a strategy to that. When you're first coming to market and the market's already either A, established, or B, in my case, I would argue saturated. When you think about how many attorneys there are in the phone book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did that just date myself? When was the last time you looked at a phone book?
I have no idea. Yellow Pages.
I use them to sit on.
How many attorneys are there in the Yellow Book? Because I haven't counted or have reviewed that.
No, but
there's only one Blake.
The area is saturated, and so price point has a lot to do with. Price point also determines your clientele too, and so obviously, I think we would all love to have the wealthy, principled, money to blow, to show somebody the difference between right and wrong kind of client, but realistically, a lot of times it's people that have been, it's people in lower income classes that have been wronged by somebody with more money. I mean, money's, the great equalizer. So it's tough. I mean, and I always want to help everybody out. I'm a people's champion. But I'm also $160,000 in the hole, so that was a difficult decision. Well, student loans, right?
I know.
So I paid for all that knowledge that I like to hit people with.
That you should give to people for free.
If I had no student loans and Desiree was independently wealthy, I would work at student aid, just like JFK.
That's true.
That's quite noble.
I would work at legal aid. That's what I would do. As it is, I'm always good for a discount here or there for the less fortunate. So
that is true. All right, next
Are you talking
one
about
now.
me? I'm kidding.
Ooh,
no,
this is
I'm
hard.
running. You're running
let me
a
scroll
tab.
down. I know, right? Let me scroll all the way down. All right, what number?
9.
It's time we get paid. All right, here's 9.
set up a private work number that's separate from your personal phone number.
Ooh. 2 cell phones.
No.
VoIP?
Are you going to guess, or can I just answer?
I thought that's what you wanted me to do.
No. This isn't trivia. How about...
Bingo.
And I've had great luck with a Google Voice number. All you need is a Gmail account, and you get a Google Voice number, attaches right to your primary line, and you not only can you get phone calls to your phone via your Google Voice, but you can also make calls incognito. So it creates another false number. So when someone looks at your caller ID, they're not getting your real number. Anyway, Google Voice, it's free. Google, there you are, free plug. You owe me.
No, I like that. But does it...
It also gives me the opportunity to leave messages as Optimus Prime.
Yes, it does. And Google Voice, it also transcribes the voicemails,
Oh, yeah,
so you could
I do like
read.
that.
You could read the voicemail, which is always clever. So if somebody does leave a message, you could read it, and not have to put your phone to your ear in a meeting. You just kind of read it at your lap, and it's really clever. I put that on a lot. I won't say a lot, but a few of my marketing pieces, because not only it's also a way for me to track. Like if they're calling on a yard sign, then they're ringing my my Google Voice number, then I know where they're seeing it. It's either one of my real estate marketing pieces or a yard sign or something to that effect.
Now, can you port the number easily, though? Because we started, we used Magic Jack when we first started.
Magic Jack!
Because it had the app and all that fun stuff, and we could call forward it to both of our phones. But then, my IT guy cautioned, they're well, if you port that number, it could be a big pain in the neck. So...
Do that again, Blake.
Magic Jack. The Magic Jack subscriber you are looking for did not answer the phone. Please wait while we search.
That's awesome.
But we actually run into that right now because we both started out with our cell phone numbers, or even some of our friends who've become clients, or maybe they're networking people who became referral sources. They think that they can get in touch with us 24 hours a day, and we always return our phone calls within one business day, but
we try.
It's not uncommon for Blake to take a call at 11:30 p.m. and for me to be sitting there WTF, where are you going?
Are you billing for this?
I'm starting the timer.
Cracking the whip. Number 10.
Okay. Make sure to set hard deadlines with your clients. You see a GIF here. We on a deadline.
That's a funny one. Snapping.
And I feel like that's really what's in a good contract, is to have deadlines and when your deliverables are about to become due and stuff.
You need boundaries. You need everybody to be on the same sheet of music. It really, really helps.
Exactly. And then second to the last, it's more important than ever to connect with your network. So get out there. Go to these networking events so you can get a drink, and it's tax deductible, so why wouldn't you?
It's amazing how much drinking goes on with networking. So it's a good time. It also loosens you up, so it's easier to communicate whatever it is you're trying to achieve to the people that you're meeting. And like Alan said at the beginning, just don't drink too much.
That's true. Or maybe or like Annalise said, you get a good drink and then just sip on it the whole event. So that way you're not forced to, but you still have something in your hand. And I think it kind of makes it more...
I tried that one time, but people kept drinking my drink.
In the last one of this article, a good attitude can be the one to set you apart from the rest. And I think that's so true. It's hard being a business owner sometimes. I think it's the most rewarding but most depressing thing I've ever done.
What's that?
Is becoming a business owner. It's hard to have a positive attitude sometimes.
It's rewarding.
But it's stressful.
Yeah, it is very stressful.
Well, what did you say as soon as we got back from our lovely vacation this year? We're never doing that again.
Well, I think at this stage in the life cycle of our respective businesses, I think a 10-day, mostly unplanned vacation immediately followed up by a 4-day arbitration is a bit much for it. So basically, we just didn't...
You got to plan ahead.
We weren't in the office for 16 days, and that aggravated some people. But it is what it is. we're people. We make mistakes, and we deserve breaks too. But
let me go.
And I wanted to add one more. Let's see, that was BuzzFeed's 12 essential tips. But I think that they forgot to point out that it's always important to work and play in a very well lit environment, because that has a lot to do with your eye strains, migraines, headaches. So if you're sitting in a cave, you're sitting in a dark room, killing yourself, you could improve things by calling my friend Sean Reardon at the Power Reduction Company. That's right.
What a segue.
The Power Reduction Company. And the website for that is www.cleanerwatts.com. But give Sean a call. He can save you money. He can fight your migraines for you. And all of his lights are built in-house.
Does he have LED?
Would you like to see? This is hot off the press right here.
Well,
look at that. Wireless Bluetooth.
Wait,
LEDs.
wireless?
Yeah. I don't even understand how that works, but we're going to find out.
It's got to be powered somehow.
Because we're going to have Sean Reardon from the Power Reduction Company on our show as soon as possible.
Sean, it's going to be magic, buddy. But more importantly, this studio needs a better lighting solution.
Yeah, you're kind of.
And I think Mr. Reardon is our answer. And I've been waiting a long time for the right concept to come. And now that I've seen that product line,
I think that's it.
The studio is getting a makeover.
I think that's it.
It's going to be a Merry Christmas here at the Space Coast Podcast.
Website's under construction.
All right, we're breaking the 60-minute threshold. Do you want to address that last surprise piece?
Oh, I thought we were
sneak attack.
Wait, how much time do we have?
Negative 2 minutes. Unless we do like a Joe Rogan 3-hour bonanza.
To be continued, then.
To be continued?
Yeah.
Well, how long is it going to take?
It's 5 points.
How fast can you? How does it have to?
Save it for later. Save it for later. English beat.
Okay. We'll do the crash course version, and then if we want to go into it, we can always feature it again on another show.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Ask yourself these 5 questions before saying yes to an opportunity, so you don't end up like Blake and Desiree working 13-hour days on a Saturday again. But we loved every single one of them. So where's the first one?
Fail.
Well, no, I don't know what happened. All right, anyways.
Well, I'm sure it starts with self.
Shut up.
Is it on the other page?
It's supposed to be
an
accident.
This may just have to be continued.
To be continued.
But that's what's going to happen next break.
Next episode?
Next episode. With our Halloween episode.
Yeah, so tune in next time.
Tune in next time. Because nothing's scarier than saying yes when you meant to say no. Dun, dun, dun. That's how you get the Me Too movement.
Oh, no.
Oops.
Do you have any shout-outs you want to give, Jesse?
Yeah, to all of our sponsors, Hippo Roofing, HR, Office Savers, Stewart Law.
Ooh.
And a quick teaser, I got a couple shows coming up that's going to join our network, guys.
Really?
Black Dog Confessional.
Ooh.
And Live Life Aware.
What's Black Dog Confessional about?
Wait till you get a load of this one. The short story, a couple full-time sheriff deputies with kids and all the mayhem that goes along with their lifestyle.
Oh, man.
Yeah, conspiracy theories, the whole thing. It's going to be crazy.
Giggity.
Mike will enjoy that.
I'm excited.
And then John Adams with the Fixed Therapy. He's coming on board with Live Life Aware. And in short, it's tools and anecdotes to help you live a healthier lifestyle with more preventative measures instead of just always being in a sick state and needing rescuing and being helped. He's going to teach you how to live life aware and how to do a lot of preventative things with diet and working out and stretching.
Can he fix my golf swing?
You know, he's helped golfers, professional athletes, so MMA fighters. He has quite the clientele, so I'm sure he could help you.
All right.
Oh, yeah. Well, welcome, guys.
Exciting.
Looking forward to doing it. Thanks for tuning in to the Memo, guys. See you next week.